42. Lev. Days come and go on the Apache reservation without much fanfare. It's not that life is simple, because where in a modern world can life be called simple anymore? But it is an unencumbered life. By choosing isolation, our Apache have successfully protected themselves, remaining safe and sane in a world gone foul. As they are the wealthiest of tribal nations, there are those who call the Apache Res the ultimate gated community. They are not blind to the things that go beyond the gate, but are certainly removed by several degrees. Naturally, any attempt to bring the world a few degrees closer would be met with powerful resistance. Yet Lev truly believed he could make a difference. After all he's been through, he still cannot come to terms with disappointment. He wonders if that keeps him human, or if it's a flaw in his character, perhaps a dangerous one. With the door locked, Lev stands before a bathroom mirror in the Tishini home, making eye contact with his reflection, trying to connect with some other version of himself, who he was, or who he is, or who he might still be. Kel pounds on the door, impatient as 12-year-olds tend to be. Lev, what are you still doing in here? I need in. Go use the other bathroom. I can't, whines Kel. My toothbrush is in this one. Then use someone else's. That's gross. Kel stomps away, and Lev goes back to business at hand. The more he studies himself in the mirror, the less familiar his face seems, like pondering a word until the word loses all meaning. Lev was always at his best when he had something to strive for, a clear-cut and discernible goal where victory can be measured. Back in his innocent days, it was all about baseball. Catch the ball, hit the ball, and run. Even as a clapper, he was an overachiever, a model representative of the cause, until he chose not to detonate, that is. With the granite intransigence of the Apache Tribal Council, he knows that he has lost his battle. The Apache will not enter the war against unwinding. They will continue to object by merely closing it out, rather than taking it on. Connor called him naive, and he was right. After all he had been through, Lev was still foolish enough to believe that reason and resolve would prevail. You are only one boy with one voice, Alina told him after his defeat in the tribal council. If you keep trying to be a choir, you'll lose that voice, and then who will hear you? She hugged him, but he did not return the gesture. He did not want consolation. It was his anger, and he wanted to own it. He needed to, because he knew that from that anger, something new might grow, something more effective than a pointless petition. In the days since, Lev has given it much thought, all his thought, really, and has come to a conclusion. What he needs is a new approach that depends on no one but himself. He's done relying on the help of others because others are too likely to disappoint. He must, once and for all, take matters into his own hands. So he examines himself in the mirror, searching for a new resolve, even deeper than before. The things written on Lev's face are too complex to read, but he knows he can simplify them. He reaches down to the counter and picks up a pair of scissors he brought into the bathroom. Without hesitation, he shears off his ponytail, dropping it to the ground. What remains is a ragged, straggly blonde mop. Then he grabs a lock of hair as close to the roots as he can get and shears it off. Then he grabs another lock, doing it again and again until the floor is covered with hair and his head looks like a hayfield that has just been reaped. Again, Kel bangs on the door. Lev, I gotta get in. Soon, Lev tells Kel. I'll be done soon. Lev puts down the scissors and lathers up the short, uneven stubble on his head. Then he picks up a razor. These days, it's mostly young Apache men planning to leave the res that get themselves tattoos. Those who have decided to go out into the larger world but want to take with them a permanent reminder of where they came from, a symbol that they can display with pride. There are only a few tattoo artists on the res, and only one with real talent. The rest are more paint-by-numbers type. Lev visits Jay's Taza, the talented one. He waits outside the shop until the last of Jazz's customers leave. Jazz looks him over and as he enters, not sure whether to be troubled or amused. You're the Tishini's foster fugitive, aren't you? The one who caught the parts pirate, right? He says. Lev shakes his head. Didn't you hear? I'm not a foster fugitive anymore. I'm a full member of the tribe. Glad to hear it. Then he points to Lev's shaved head. What happened to your hair? It became unnecessary, Lev tells him. It's the answer he gave the Tishinis and anyone else who asks. He shaved his head. His shaved head had troubled Alina, as he knew it would, but she allowed him his choice. What can I do for you? asked Jazz. Lev presents him several pages and explains what he wants. Jazz looks the pages over, then looks at Lev dubiously. You can't be serious. Do I look like I'm joking? Jazz looks the pages over and over. Are you sure you want this? Positive. This much ink, all at once? Yes. It's gonna hurt. A lot. Lev has already considered that. It should hurt, he says. It needs to hurt, or it doesn't mean anything. Jazz looks around his shop, pointing to his many original designs. How about a nice eagle or a bear instead? You're not Apache born, so you can choose your own spirit animal. Mountain lions look good in ink. I already have a spirit animal, and it's not what I want. I want this. He points to the pages in Jazz's hand. It'll take many hours over many days. That's fine. And you'll have to pay me for my time. I don't come cheap. I'll pay whatever it costs. The Tishines gave Lev spending money, enough to last a while. It's more than enough to pay Jazz for his talent and his time. After that, he won't need our Apache currency because it's no good off the res. He hasn't told Alina and Cobb that he's leaving. He hasn't told anyone, because anyone he tells will try to talk him out of it, or at the very least, try to discover where he's going. It's crucial that no one knows that. He pulls the money from his wallet and flashes it before Jazz. Like everywhere else in the world, money talks. Their first session begins a few minutes later. He allows Jazz full creative expression. Where do you want to start? Start at the top and work your way down, Lev tells him. Then he leans back in the chair and closes his eyes, mentally preparing himself for the ordeal to come. Bookmark check.